Have you ever noticed that people have babies and get married all at the same time? Not all at the same time. Usually those two are not necessarily at the same exact time, but you know, all your friends are having babies at one time, or they're all having grandchildren, or everybody's getting married. It just seems to go in waves. I have a little burp cloth. I want to show you some tips when you're working on the serger for doing something like this. It goes really fast and easy because you have the wrong sides together and you're going to just stitch around the outside edge. If you have one that has the wave stitch like this Triumph does, then you can use the wave stitch, and that wave stitch is really fun because you probably noticed you get this great 2-color edge, and it's really fun. You can also use a 3-thread stitch, but I have something called arrow flock, and this is a woolly thread, so when the thread relaxes it puffs a little bit, so then it will give you a nice effect. Okay, so now we have the machine threaded. I have the arrow flock up there, and in the needle I have some regular serger thread. So when you're doing a project like this that has curves, it's good to start where it's kind of flat. So start sewing then, and then we're going to work our way around. What I want to show you is, if you can see here, I'm getting near a curve, and this machine has a knee lift. So as I'm sewing, when I get to the curve, one thing you don't want to do is force it around a curve, because then it just gets messy, right? So I'm going to sew it around, and I have my my wave stitch set at about a 1.25. Now, as I'm getting here, and it doesn't want to really, I can see, you probably can't see, but I can see the fabric is not all the way over to the edge anymore because it's too tight of a curve to just go there. I'm going to use my knee lift, lift that up, and then just pivot the fabric underneath it. Now, isn't that fabulous? So you don't have to move your hands. Did you see I got a little bit of a pucker there? So I just release that, and then I can keep going. And I shouldn't have to readjust or use the knee lift until I get back down to the other corner. And using that word corner pretty loosely because it's really not a corner, it's a curve. But anyway, you're just going to go around it, and when I see it starting to not cooperate, I'm going to relax it a little bit. And I don't want to shove or push too much, because what will happen is I may push it outside of the stitches. Now, one thing you're going to see on here, can you see the little bit of fluff there? You know what, that's going to happen. Just take some scissors and trim that. And part of the reason that happens is because the warp and the weft of the threads in the fabric itself are more resilient going one way than another. So you'll find when you do a rolled hem or a decorative stitch like this that you may have one edge that's a little bit more hairy than another. Okay, when you've come back around, and I'll show you on this bib, when you come back around, you just want to run off the edge. See how I just stitched right off? And then I have what is called a double-eyed needle. It's really big, there's no point on it, but you can come in and just feed it back inside your project and pull it back out the other side, and then just cut it off, and your tail is buried and you're done. So that's how easy it is to serge. Just take your time going around the corners. If you don't have a knee lift like this machine has, just raise your presser foot when you see that you're getting a little bit of resistance, so it can relax that curve, so you have a smooth curve and not some funky corner.